This video was sponsored by No Limit Gaming.
Hey guys, it's Dean from Team Yu-Gi-Oh! Ohio, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a budget deck profile for Gren Maju de Eza OTK. So the purpose of this video is to hopefully give you guys an idea of what you can expect to play for a rogue option. It's a pretty budget deck. I guess a rule of thumb that we try to use for the club and a lot of our deck profiles that we're going to be posting soon is we're going to be looking for decks that you can build on a college budget, and that's actually what we have here today. So to start, we play 3 Gren Maju de Eza. It's the powerhouse of the deck, it's the main win condition. If you don't know what it does, it gains 400 attack and defense for each of your banished cards. And because of cards like Pot of Desires and Eater of Millions and things of that sort, you're able to load your banished pile and have a huge monster that just swings for game with just 1 attack. So really strong, really cool. Next we're going to go on to the Banish Monster Engine, and these just turbo out your banished pile. So Gizmek Orochi, it summons itself from your hand or graveyard by banishing the top 7 cards of your deck face down, and then during a different turn that you summon it, you banish 3 cards from your extra deck face down to target a face-up card on the field and destroy it. And Eater of Millions is banish 5 or more cards from your hand, field, or extra deck face down, and summon it, and it has a nice little extra effect during battle for spot removal, because anything that it battles with before damage calculation gets banished face down, and it gains attack equal to the total number of face down banished cards on the field, so it's really strong. To force one-on-one battles, we use a small kaiju engine. We don't use any other kaijus besides Radian, as it's an allure target, and even though it has sort of a higher attack compared to a lot of the other kaiju monsters, just, you know, as that allure target, and I guess for the aesthetic, it's just the best choice. So next up we have some stall cards, which are Battle Fader. Normally when I play this card, or the way that I try to style this deck, or used to, was I would utilize Battle Fader and Swift Scarecrow. You can still utilize Scarecrow, but because Call by the Grave is a card, it's not the best option in this current format, and Battle Fader is pretty cheap. When the Megatons drop, I will likely replace Battle Fader with Dimension Shifter, just to give this deck a little bit more viability and some more disruption for my opponent. One more card I forgot for the banished engine is Necroface. You send this off of Allure of Darkness, and you can also send it off of Gold Sarcophagus, and it banishes the top 5 cards of each player's deck face up. And if you hit the other one in your deck during that first 5 mil, you mill 5 more. So it's a really good way to help fuel your banished pile, and to kind of help cut into your opponent's deck and potentially disrupt some of their plays before they even start. This card also has a really cool OTK potential, because it can reset the entire game state by, when you normal summon it, it shuffles all banished cards back into the respective decks and extra decks. And then it gains 100 attack for each. Alright, now onto the spells. You have to play 3 Pot of Desires. It is probably the single best draw card in this deck, because not only does it fuel your banished zone, it also gives you a +2. Ash at this point doesn't matter, because if they ash it, you will either gain life or you gain attack for your Gren Maju, so they're only slowing down the inevitable. Allure of Darkness is also really strong because it helps you dig further into your play pieces, such as Pot of Desires, or your Gren Majus or Gizmeks. Eater of Millions is also a really good card to get off of this, but yeah, it just helps fuel your plays. Kind of a more, I guess, strange pick is Pot of Duality. Some people don't quite like playing Duality with this build because of cards like Eater of Millions and the Kaijus, but it can really help you dig, and you'll understand why I'm playing it in a second, because of the second function that this deck has, which is not just OTKing. So on to the other method of win condition in this deck. I like to play 3 soul absorption. And so for every card that's banished, which includes your cards and your opponent's cards, you gain 500 life points for each, and these do stack. So if you have 2 and you resolve Pot of Desires, even if they ash it, you'll still gain 10,000 life, which in time is a godsend. But even beyond that, it can really keep you in the game down to the very last card in your deck, and just it can be the difference between winning a match and losing a match. So it's really strong and also really cheap. Because we're very quickly entering a control format, triple twin twisters is kind of a must at this point. It's not always seen because of the nature of the deck, because you're trying to banish so much, but just in general, having 3 of these in the main deck is always a plus. For recursion, since most of your cards are going to be going to the banish zone, I play triple different dimension reincarnation. It's a discard, which in some circumstances can be banished, but you discard a card and then special summon any face-up monster that is in your banish zone and equip it to this card. It's basically like a Call of the Haunted or Premature Burial, but for banished decks, so it's pretty good. And then the one-ofs, so the one-of Upstart Goblin, because in this deck, when you have a 30,000 attack Gren Maju, it doesn't quite matter how many life points your opponent has. You're going to likely win the game as long as you can get an attack off on an attack position monster. Gold Sarcophagus, it's mandatory. It does suck that it's at 1 because Thunder Dragons ruin everything, but with it at 1, it's still a powerhouse, because if you can get it off and get your Necroface in the into the banish zone, and then hit a second Necroface, that's 10 additional cards in the banish zone, and a fourth of your opponent's deck gone. Dimensional Fissure, it's a really strong card. It's a great disruption going first. It'll work wonders with Dimension Shifter when that gets released in the Megatins. For those of you who don't know what it does, it banishes all monster cards sent to the graveyard. And yeah, it's really strong. And then One Day of Peace is kind of a gimmicky card. The amount of times that this card wins me games because I can just sit either with like 20,000 life points, or just draw and do an extra piece of the OTK that I'm looking for next turn, is almost incountable. Sure, it does give your opponent an extra draw card, and it also does prevent you from OTKing that turn, but it can set you up plays for next turn and really be devastating, especially when your opponent would otherwise have an OTK of their own. And then lastly, I play 1 Macrocosmos. For when you go first, this kills Sky Striker. This also is really strong against most combo decks that require recursion from the grave. It can be a little finicky with Thunder Dragons the way that they play, but they're not going to blow more than one of their cards into the banish zone, and then that also prevents them from using the Chaos Dragon engine quite as effectively. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. As for the extra deck, you can literally just play any 15 cards. I just play a mix of super poly targets because of what I have in my side deck. And then Underclock Taker can be kind of cheeky every now and again, forcing your opponent into a 0 attack monster. But that's more or less it. The side deck, it can be really anything that you need it to be to keep it budget. But the entire deck that you see here, including the extra deck or whatever you would make it, is just a little over $40. It's really budget, really strong. For the local scene that we go to at Pixel Palace Games, it's gone 3-1 and 4-0 most times that I've gone there. So if you guys are interested in it, this is the deck profile. Check out your local card shops or potentially TCG Player. And if you can't find anything that's super budget there, because I understand that the Gizmek Orochis did get bought out recently, but being able to snipe a couple trades on like in your locals or on eBay can really save you some time and money. So That's all I've got for today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a subscribe or liking this video. It'll really help our channel grow right now and hopefully bring some more awareness to the club. So see you guys next time.